If you've been paying attention, you know we've been working with cognates these last couple videos, more specifically, cognate patterns or groups. Once you know how to translate one word from a certain cognate group, you know how to translate them all, minus a spelling change here and there. Once you know that nation in Spanish is la nación, T-I-O-N to C-I-O-N, you know that celebration is la celebración. And once you know that to activate in Spanish is activar, A-T-E to A-R, you know that to celebrate is celebrar. So from the last two videos alone, you basically learned 100 new words, and there are lots of others. I just handpicked the most common, useful examples. You're ready for some more? Well, that's good, because today it's more of the same. The first cognate pattern we covered was all nouns, feminine nouns. That's their gender, not their sex. Thank you, Marvin on YouTube. The second cognate pattern we covered was verbs, AR verbs. Well, today it's a little more mixed. This third and final cognate pattern, at least for a while, is mostly adjectives, but also includes some nouns, some very common nouns. Hola, soy Jordan, and this is a Spanish Quickie. Fast, easy Spanish lessons from somebody who speaks your language. Okay, adjectives. Do you remember how adjectives work in Spanish? There are a few different ways. Check out the video I made called Adjectives if you're at all unsure. In Spanish, different adjectives behave in different ways, but all the adjectives in this group and all the adjectives on the word list below all work the same. They have masculine and feminine versions. The masculine versions end in O, the female versions end in A. Then to get the plural versions, you add an S to the end of either one. Again, if any of this is confusing, make sure you check out the video called Adjectives. So now for this group, the IC to ICO words, you basically do what we've been doing in the past two videos, but now you take off the IC at the end of the English word and replace it with ICO to form the Spanish version of the same word. And I guess really that means you're just adding an O, but IC is the pattern you're looking for, or ICO. Take the word acrobatic, for example. You change the IC at the end of acrobatic to ICO. Acrobatic in Spanish is acrobático. Notice the accent on the A. So acrobatic is acrobático, but that's just the singular masculine version. Acrobatic can be acrobático, but it can also be acrobática, acrobáticos, or acrobáticas, depending on the noun it's describing. All the adjectives in this group are exactly like that. They have 4 different forms. Another example of this is fantastic. Change the IC to ICO and you get fantástico. The accent is on the A again. Fantastic is fantástico, or fantástica, or fantásticos, or fantásticas. Ironic works the same way. Ironic is irónico. IC to ICO and no other changes are necessary. Ironic is irónico, irónica, irónicos, or irónicas. Toxic too. Tóxico, tóxica, tóxicos, or tóxicas. This is really easy, right? Do you see how if you practice this stuff even just a little bit, it'll be ingrained in your mind really quickly? Read the word list below out loud a few times, and I bet next time you need one of these words, you'll be able to think of it, but maybe not on time. Just kidding. Of course, like always, there are some spelling changes you have to look out for. We've seen this a million times by now. Allergic has a double L in it, but only one L sound, allergic. So drop one of the L's and then change the IC to ICO to give you alérgico. Make sure you know that one when traveling if you have any allergies, alérgico. Now, here's a spelling change that's really common, but we haven't seen before. The word athletic. Athletic has a TH that makes a F sound. In Spanish, they don't really make the F sound. Well, in Spain they do, but not for TH. So in Spanish, you usually have to change the TH to just a T. Then in this case, you change the IC to ICO, and athletic in Spanish is atlético. Cool? The TH usually becomes a T. Another example of this same thing, and in this cognate group, is authentic. Change the TH to T, then change the IC to ICO, and you get auténtico. Authentic is auténtico. Okay, I'm glad I picked this group, because here's another common spelling change. Dynamic is an IC to ICO word, but see that Y in the middle of dynamic? Yeah, Ys are weird in Spanish. Often, when you see a Y like that in the middle of a word, you'll have to change the Y to to I. So dynamic in Spanish is dinámico. IC to ICO, then the Y to I. Dynamic is dinámico. You just have to memorize these changes as you encounter them, but like always, I promise, you practice these a few times the correct way, just a few times even, and you'll pretty much know the word forever. Dinámico, dinámico, dinámico. Heck, you might even know it forever just from me saying it a few times. Dinámico, dinámico, dinámico. Okay, here's an interesting group of words within the group. Specific. Specific is an IC word, so change the IC to ICO. But, and I say this quite often in my YouTube videos and in my premium courses, usually when a word starts with S in English, it starts with ES in Spanish. Like the word Spanish. Spanish in Spanish is español. Spain is España, and specific is específico. Usually when a word starts with S in English, it starts with ES in Spanish. That's why you'll often hear Spanish speakers say, I'm from Spain, or I speak Spanish. It's weird for them to start words with S. But right in this very group are two exceptions. Sarcastic is sarcástico, IC to ICO, but notice the S does not become an ES. Maybe there's a specific reason or specific pattern I'm not aware of. J.R. Warscott on YouTube, if you care to enlighten me, I'm all ears. But bottom line, sarcastic is sarcástico, not es sarcástico. Then check out this second but different exception, scientific. IC to ICO, but the S at the beginning of scientific doesn't become an ES and it doesn't stay an S either. It turns into a C. So scientific is científico, but obviously the same sound is retained. The C makes the S sound here basically. All the adjectives I've mentioned in this video have 4 forms, even though I didn't say all 4 forms for time's sake. So scientific is científico, científica, científicos, or científicas. One last thing about this cognate pattern. There are some nouns that follow this pattern too. I've included them on the word list below. They work the same way, except they're nouns instead of adjectives. Take the word traffic, for example. Traffic does end in IC, and the Spanish equivalent, tráfico, ends in ICO, so it belongs to this group. It's an IC to ICO word. It's just a noun, not an adjective. And since it ends in O, that's a good sign it's a masculine noun, and it is. Traffic in Spanish is el tráfico. IC to ICO, but other than that, same word exactly. Another couple notable examples of this are Atlantic and Pacific. Atlantic is an IC to ICO word, so after you make that change, you get Atlántico, el Atlántico. Same with Pacific, change the IC to ICO and you get Pacífico, el Pacífico. Cool? Last example, then we're out of here. Fanatic, that's an IC to ICO word. Fanatic in Spanish is fanático, but since a fanatic is a person, it can be either a masculine or feminine noun. So el fanático or la fanática. When a noun isn't a person, it's almost always just masculine or feminine. Traffic isn't a person, it's el tráfico. But when a noun is a person, it can usually be masculine or feminine. Sometimes the end of the word changes, like with fanático, it's el fanático or la fanática, but other times just the article changes, the el or la, or los or las, and the actual word stays the same. But for this group, the IC to ICO words, the ending always changes. O for men, A for women. So for feminine nouns, it's more like IC to ICA. And I guess in this group, nouns that are people, like fanático, have 4 forms, just like the adjectives. It's acrobático, acrobática, acrobáticos, or acrobáticas. Then el fanático, la fanática, los fanáticos, or las fanáticas. The only difference is the article. Then with nouns in this group that aren't people, there are just 2 forms. El tráfico, los tráficos. Los tráficos? Not a great example. Medic is better. Medic is an IC to ICO word also. Oh, but that's a person, so it has 4 forms. El médico, la médica, los médicos, las médicas. But you get the picture. Okay, get out of here. You know the drill by now. Download the word list, print it and make flashcards, then use the flashcard strategy. Or load that list into your favorite flashcard app on your phone or tablet and study your little booty off that way. The Anki and text file, along with the normal PDF, are below this video. In the next video, we're going to change it up a bit. I'll show you a cool trick you can use to make a noun out of any adjective, something we really can't do in English. Then we're going to move on to one of my favorite videos so far. So make sure you're signed up to the Gringo Español newsletter. I'll email you whenever I post a new video, and you'll get instant access to videos and discounts not available to the public. That's gringoespanol.com/newsletter. And you'll notice I referenced 2 different YouTube comments in this video. If you you ever have anything to add, if you ever think I made a mistake, probably in every video, please comment. As long as you're somewhat polite, I love it. I've learned so much Spanish from the comments on my videos. I appreciate it very much, but I do prefer the ones that don't reference the Royal Academy of Spanish or whatever it's called. The book follows us. We don't follow the book. Remember that, gringo. The book follows us. We don't follow the book. I'll see you next time. Hasta luego. Adios, amigo.